What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. There was a pretty big update regarding the future prospects of Fall Guys becoming cross-platform and available on mobile phones, on the Nintendo Switch, and on the Xbox One during a recent podcast with Joe Walsh, the lead designer of Fall Guys, on the podcast called Talk Guys. They asked him a few important questions about this, and he gave his honest feelings about the direction of this franchise and what they plan on doing with it. And while there is some positive news ultimately with it, a lot of people might not want to like what they hear about how long this is going to take. JT. Fall Guys lead designer Joe Walsh recently spoke on the podcast Talk Guys to discuss what the future prospects of this game held. And while he was on the podcast, he more directly spoke to the topic of what Mediatonic isn't working on right now, and that is mobile, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One. If he is to be believed with what he says and how he goes about saying it, I don't see a reason why we wouldn't believe him. It's an awful lot of work to basically port this game because of all the servers that need to be involved with it and all the moving parts with it. It's not just as easy as flipping a switch to make it available on other platforms. Tons and tons of work has to go into it to make it work right and up to snuff on what they are expecting it to be. And I'm going to play a clip here of them asking a specific question. I want you to listen really carefully to what he says.
I got a bunch of questions coming in from the chat, and they're all the ones that I know you've heard a million times. I got to do my job and at least ask you.
All right,
Crossplay.
let's do this.
Crossplay.
Maybe one day.
Okay. Xbox.
Maybe one day.
Switch.
Nintendo Switch.
Maybe one day.
Cross progression.
That's a lot harder. And
Why is that hard? Why is that harder?
Okay.
Because we don't have like a Fall Guys account. Like it's your Steam account and it's your
Yeah.
PlayStation account, and the two aren't sort of like linked together.
Yeah.
So there's no way to link them easily.
Yeah. Exactly. And so, like, I'll try, like, completely hypothetically, say we did a really, really awesome deal with, like, Valve, for example, and we have all these amazing costumes in the game, and then we go to, like, another platform who, like, maybe don't want Valve costumes in their game or appearing on their platform.
Right.
It's like, then how do we do cross-platform progression? Because suddenly things have to start being filtered, and, you know, like, all of these things are ultimately solvable, but it's where more complication appears, basically, when you start doing cross-platform
Come on, Kate.
progression.
This is looking like Kate.
Maybe.
Oh!
Yes!
Who got it? Who got it? Who got it?
I
you get
did!
it? Yay! Yay!
I thought that was fascinating that he goes into detail regarding cross progression and why it's such a challenge, talking about how you can't just simply make the game work on all these different platforms, especially if they start making exclusive skins for, in this case, like the Sony PlayStation or even on Steam, specific ones for those platforms, and how they wouldn't necessarily transfer over to the other platforms because of licensing issues and all the other fun behind the scenes copyright stuff. So there's a lot of ins and outs that they need to take into account when it comes to account progression and saving everything and progressing together. There are issues with it because of that. Something I didn't really think of up until this moment, but yes, it's true. They're gonna run into some major hurdles with that. The next snippet I want to show you guys is them discussing the potential of this game moving to different devices and why that's not number one top priority for Mediatonic, the creators of Fall Guys right now, because this game is a major undertaking to be able to run the servers with 60 characters running and all the different games starting all the time, to balance all of that, and then to think you can just flip a switch and have it work on other platforms without letting the PlayStation 4 and Steam versions just fall by the wayside. They want to do these games right. They want to service the community properly. They don't want to just put a game out, take money, and then throw it everywhere and just make money everywhere. They want to make sure they make this as good as possible, and that's strange in this day and age. I feel like so many people are so used to companies just wanting to make money. Like, if this game was from a major AAA publisher like EA, I would imagine they would put it everywhere they can to make as much money as possible, and then worry about growing the actual fan base and creating more seasons and things like that. But in this case, Mediatonic is a smaller company. They're basically an indie studio that Devolver Digital signed on to help publish the game with them and for them. And that's really the group of people making this game, and they have to do it in small chunks because they're not a gigantic organization.
Let's get real though. Xbox and Nintendo Switch, like, you got to check those boxes. But for right now, all you can officially say is maybe one day, right?
Yeah, like right now our real focus is on making the PlayStation and the PC games as good as they possibly can be. Like, we really have to build trust with the community now and make sure that they believe that we can support this game and make it really good, because the game is like no longer ours, right? Like, we develop it and we put it out there, and now it belongs to the community essentially. Right. So it's our job now to be like, hey, community, we know what you want and we're listening and we're working as hard as we can to try and fix it. And for us to just go like, hey, well, like, now we're going to just focus on bringing it to more platforms, it's not the right thing to do at this point in development, to just like, because that, you know, like, that will make us more money, but that's not what we want to do right now. Like, the focus is on building that relationship with the community and like
it's also
getting people on side and building that trust.
Also becomes, every time you deploy onto a whole other platform and add a whole other user base, that then becomes much more work for you to support, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. It's a huge job.
And
Yeah, a lot of people on Twitter seem to think it's just like an extra button you press, and then suddenly it's like available
now
for
it's on the Xbox.
That's right.
So there you have the two main snippets of conversation that I wanted you guys to hear from what amounted to a near 2.5 hour podcast discussing the future of Fall Guys. This was episode 2 of the Talk Guys podcast. For people that are really interested in keeping up to date with what's going on with Fall Guys, highly recommend checking it out. I'll put a link in the description below, but also make sure you subscribe to me if you want the Cliff Notes version, if you don't want to sit through the 2.5 hour podcast like I did to make sure I didn't miss anything on this. Hit the subscribe button, the bell for notifications, and I will let you guys know as soon as I hear any more updates regarding a potential mobile release for this game, not to mention Nintendo Switch and Xbox One. It is going to be coming to them eventually. There's too much money on the table to just leave it be and just let it be on the PlayStation 4 and Steam for the time being. There are, most likely, this hasn't been officially confirmed, but by all accounts, an exclusive contract right now with the rights for it through Sony. But once that elapses, hopefully after the first month, then they can get to work on making these ports for the Nintendo Switch and the Xbox One. As far as the mobile phone version of the game is concerned, officially they have said they have not started on it. It's not being made right now, but they would like to work towards that eventually. But like I've covered in a previous video, there is a mobile version of this game coming officially, but it's coming through a Chinese company and only available in China on mobile phones there. I believe it's Bilibili or something like that, whatever the company is making it through them and doing the publishing and all that. So it's not necessarily coming directly from Fall Guys, Mediatonic, and Devolver Digital when it comes out in China on mobile phones, but at least it's a step in the right direction. As far as a timeline to be expecting these games coming to other platforms, I would not expect to see it until at least early 2021, which at this point, time of recording, would be at least 3 months from today. Based off of everything that I've heard and read regarding the future of this, that timeline is extremely optimistic. Most likely, the soonest we're going to see this game on another platform would be around 6 months from now. We're talking late quarter one to quarter two of 2021. So it's going to be a while until this game actually comes out on another platform, on a major console, or even on mobile phones outside of China. I wanted to bring this information to you just so you guys are up to date with what we have. Like I said, I will be keeping up to date with this, so hit that subscribe and the bell for notifications to make sure you don't miss any updates regarding the future of Fall Guys on mobile phones, the future of Fall Guys on Nintendo Switch, and the future of Fall Guys on the Xbox One. Apparently, they will be coming, according to the lead designer, but it's going to be a matter of time, and that time is not anytime soon, unfortunately. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it is what it is. This is the reality that we're facing. It's a small team of people that basically will say bit off more than they can chew with one of the biggest hits in gaming history that just took off in 2020. Everybody is all about Fall Guys right now, and even Mediatonic has said they expected the game to do well. They thought they'd be able to surprise a lot of people with it, but they couldn't even imagine the success that this game has already reached in just a month after release. With over 7 million copies sold on Steam in less than a month, it's probably over 8 to 9 now at this point. I haven't checked the official numbers, and that doesn't even include what Sony PlayStation has had for downloads on the PlayStation Network. So it's been selling like hotcakes. This game is revolutionizing the Fortnite Battle Royale type style games, and it's way more up my alley. Perfectly fit for mobile phones, perfectly fit for on-the-go gaming like the Nintendo Switch, but unfortunately, like they said, their team is just not big enough to be able to make this work on every platform right away, while they're also working on improving the PlayStation 4 and Steam versions that already exist, making Season 2, making new levels, and making some little tinkering with some changes to make improvements for the game that already exists right now. Anyways, I'm going to leave the video right there. I'll let you guys know if I hear any updates going forward, but I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to say about this news. Are you frustrated because they're such a small team that they're not able to do it? Or are you more in the camp of understanding that they're a small team and it makes sense it's going to take a while, it just sucks. I'm going to leave the video right there. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.